football guru, so I just wanted to tell you about
That's
that.
right. I'm all about football.
She's all about football.
Which is why he's going to ask you the questions.
Yeah,
Ozzie.
so this is a real
I
honor
asked
to
you what
meet
you
you.
think about the title games this weekend. I don't know if that would be appropriate.
No, that would not be.
Ozzie, full disclosure, I'm a diehard Cub fan, and just wanted
I
to.
won't hold that against you.
Okay, good. For the next couple minutes, I hope. I wanted to ask you, though, about some of the great games that you guys had with the Cubs in the 80s with Sandberg, and if you just talk about maybe some of the moments you remember most.
Well, when you talk about Sandberg, the moment that you have to remember is we had a 4 or 5 run lead, and Ryan hits a home run off of Bruce Sutter in the bottom of the ninth to tie the game, and then he come back in the 10th inning and hit a home run to win the game. And that was the only time that Bruce Sutter that I played with had given up 2 home runs to the same guy to lose a ball game.
When you look back at your whole career, any big games stand out to you? I mean, I know you had the World Series, but anything in particular that you still talk about or think about today?
Well, all of it was it was such a thrill to have the opportunity to play for 19 years, and of course, winning the World Series in 1982 was real special in that that was my first year with the Cardinals, and I had gotten traded for a great player in Gary Templeton, and not knowing exactly how I was going to respond to the pressure of having to replace a player who I consider one of the best to ever put on a pair of spikes was a little daunting, but winning the World Series and then coming back again in 1985 and the playoffs of 85, being able to hit a home run that allowed us to go to Game 6 and winning it in Game 6 out in Los Angeles, and then, of course, having the opportunity to go back to the series again in 1987 against Minnesota. 85 and 87, I think we had chances to win the World Series in both those instances and came up a game short.
When you were playing baseball, were you taking up the game of golf at that time?
No, I never played golf when I was playing because I dedicated myself to my craft, the way I made my living, and I got serious about this game when in 1996, after I retired, I started playing with some friends of mine, and they started beating up on me pretty good and took some of my money, and at that point it got serious, So 1996 was the first year that I really started getting into the game, and for all of us who play a different sport for a long period of time, there's a competitive void in our lives after we leave it, and I think golf fills that void for all of us.
Anything with the swing, from the baseball swing then transferring to the golf swing, was it an easy transition for you, or did you struggle and maybe take any have any bad habits or anything like that?
Well, you're always going to have bad habits, and for us as baseball players, we're always trying to get here. You tell a baseball player to turn it over, and we're going to turn it over, because it's what we did. So it's learning how to release more out in here than out in here, because we're always looking. If they're throwing a fastball, you're looking to get the head out here and stuff. So you have to work yourself in here at learning how and where to release it, and that just comes from digging it out of the dirt, man. That's the best way to do it. And I think for guys who have played a sport where there was a stick involved, if you give them enough time, they'll figure it out.
How is this program compared to others that you play in? Do you find it to be more competitive, or is it about the same?
It's always competitive. Anytime you get great athletes together and in a field of golfers like this here, it's always competitive and stuff. And I think that we all want to get to a point of consistency to where we don't embarrass ourselves. Keeping it, try and keep the ball in the fairway. And I think if you do that, you learn to chip and putt. If I was teaching golf, the first thing that I would teach from the green back to the tee box, because I think that if you learn how to chip and putt, that's really where the scoring and stuff is done. And I spent a lot of time on that. Still haven't gotten very good at it, but but that's the part of the game that I would recommend that people work on to, if you're just getting started, to start putting first and then chipping, and the swinging thing I think will come. That'll probably be the easiest thing to develop.
How did you enjoy your first day out here yesterday?
It was great. I had a great time. I had a chance to play with John Merrick and Robert Garrigus, who they hit the ball a ton, and it's just fun watching those guys do what they do. They're very good at what they do. They're very consistent at what they do, and you try and learn as much as you can. And watching their approach to it, and talking about transferring from baseball to golf, one of the things that has always been tough for me is, finding that rhythm and timing. In baseball, nothing starts until the pitcher goes into his windup. So you have something to go. Here, you're at a stagnated position, and you got to find that rhythm and timing all yourself. So there are little things that I have to do to try and release the tension. It's like standing up at home plate and the pitcher holding the ball. You call timeout because so much tension is built up. And same thing here, because you want to play well. There's always a lot of tension, so you have to find that way to release that tension. And I have these little things that I do that I have to remind myself all the time to get that tension out and hopefully put a good swing on the ball.
You like to pick the brains of the pros, or you try to stay out of the way your best you can out there?
I leave them. I get out of the way. When a pro is doing what he does, people should respect their time and stuff because there's so much going on. And this is how these guys make a living. So I try and do whatever I'm going to do and get out of the way and let them do their thing.
I wanted to ask you, we're involved with the California Winter League, and I know your son Dustin is there. Just talk about watching your son now start his professional career and how involved you've been with that.
Well, Dustin has been at it a long time. Hey, Jay, Dustin's been at it a long time, and, he's 25 now, and sometimes it's hard to shatter the dreams of your kids, especially if they're trying to follow in your footsteps and stuff. And Dustin hasn't gotten rid of that yet. He's been beating it around a long time and stuff. So when he told me he was coming out here to play, all I could say as a dad was that's good, and go out and do well. And that's why my arm is sore now. I threw a lot of batting practice, so he has fun with it. He enjoys the game, and hopefully. Lightning will strike, and he'll get a chance to play. Hopefully, he'll play one of the independent teams somewhere.
Now, I heard you are a guest instructor at the California Winter League this week.
No. I'm committed to this here this week, and
well, I guess meant during the California Winter League, though. Will you be helping?
At some point in time, and I don't know exactly when that is because I've got to go to spring training and I've got to go to fantasy camp, and there are a lot of things going on this time of year. So,
I'm sorry. Did you just say fantasy camp?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is where things get interesting. I'm a diehard fantasy baseball guy. I run leagues. No, I didn't go to the Cubs. I go to fantasy baseball symposiums. Julie Buehler decides to call them fantasy baseball camps.
And they cut the crusts off his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when he goes to these camps.
I am.
Qualify that as camp.
I'm going to another one next month, and I'm a National League only league, and most of my league, the people live back in Peoria, Illinois. So the Cardinals are there, big Cardinal fans. So Cardinals always go for more than they should in most leagues because the values there are so much more. But yeah, we love fantasy baseball. But she makes fun of me. So what advice would you have for me dealing with her?
Well, as a Cub fan, it's kind of you guys have been it's been futile for a while.
Do you feel like my time's coming? Like, are we close? Do you think Theo? I think Theo's the guy.
I think you get there, something happens. I don't know exactly what it is, but maybe Theo is your guy.
I hope it is.
We'll give him a couple years, and good luck to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ozzie.
Thank you.